Hey guys, Bert Stormtrooper here, coming from the Mobile Command Studio with another edition of Nerd Rage. And got a couple of things to talk about today. First thing I'm going to talk about, I actually had not planned on talking about this. This just came up. I'm on my way home and I stopped at Toys R Us and found something cool, actually. I found an 8-bit Donkey Kong. Check this guy out. This is pretty cool. So I just picked this guy up at Toys R Us for about $5. And I love this, man. Just check that out. That is going to go right on my Nintendo display. Really excited about that. That looks super awesome. So yeah, that was a cool find. I was completely not expecting that. So and then surprisingly enough, Toys R Us just restocked all their Transformers with the Combiner War stuff, the newer stuff. So they had, I found an Onslaught, which I have already reviewed. They had a Scattershot, which I'm not planning on picking that one up. I'm probably not going to pick it up. And they have the new wave of the deluxes. So they have like Wheeljack and Smokescreen and Hound, Trailbreaker. So they had all of those there. But honestly, I'm just so disappointed because it was too much, too late. You know, you usually hear too little, too late. This is the opposite. This was too much, too late, and I'll explain myself. Too late, obviously, because these guys have already been on shelves in other retailers. I've had them for a few weeks now. So Toys R Us, again, behind the curve, just getting their stuff weeks, if not a little bit, actually a little bit over a month after everybody else already got them. And then too much, because they are charging $19.99. They're charging $20 for deluxe size Transformers, and that's just way too much. The deluxe ones were $20, and they're charging $28 for the Voyager size one. So Onslaught and Scattershot, and they had a Motormaster there. Those guys got jacked up to $28. All the deluxe size figures for the Combiner Wars now, those are $20. The RID Voyager Warrior class, those were $17. So yeah, you know what? I remember the days when I used to work at Toys R Us. I like supporting Toys R Us. I used to work there for about 2.5, 3 years. I used to manage the video game section. This was ages ago. But you know what? I like supporting Toys R Us. Personally, I try not to go to Walmart. I try to go either to Toys R Us or to Target or shop online. And I remember the days when Target was actually the most expensive out of everybody that you could go shop at. And Toys R Us was typically very competitive with their prices. And at some point, it's taken a turn. And Toys R Us is now the most expensive option, and I am seriously considering just not going to Toys R Us. I'm probably just gonna go to either Target or just shop online. And Toys R Us is just gonna lose my business unless it's something very specific, like for example, you guys know my youngest likes to collect Power Rangers, and they got all the legacy stuff. So unless it's something like that can only be gotten at Toys R Us, for the most part, just in general, I'm really considering just not going to Toys R Us anymore. Because for A, I can usually just find whatever I'm looking for elsewhere weeks before Toys R Us gets it, and B, just the price is ridiculous. Sorry. I mean, $1 or $2 I can kind of understand. If everybody else is charging $15 and you're charging $16, $17, it's kind of pushing it, but you know, sometimes I can let that, I'll overlook that. But come on, $20 for a Voyager, for a deluxe size, when the Voyagers were the ones that were $20. And usually, it's too much. So I'm upset about that. I'm just sadly disappointed. And so yeah, so there's that. So that just happened. That was completely unexpected. That just happened, so I figured I'd share that with you. Now, what I did have in store for you guys that I wanted to share, I got two things. I got a story that's there's my rage. So there's that. I got a story that's not a good story, but it's kind of funny, and I wanted to share with you guys that, and then I got a really awesome story to share with you guys. So getting into my stories here, the kind of funny one. Over the weekend, let me preface. Usually on the weekends, my kids, if not myself included, but this was not the case this past weekend. But typically we camp out in the living room. You know, the kids like to stay up late watching movies, and we got the couches that kick out and recline. So we'll just grab blankets and pillows, and we'll let the dogs out, climb up on the couch with us. We're not the kind of household that lets the dogs sleep in bed. The dogs are not allowed in any of the beds. In fact, the dogs are not allowed in the kids' bedrooms at all. They're allowed in my bedroom only because they're crates, which are never closed. They're just there for kind of like a security thing, where their beds are at. You know, the dogs have their crates, but they go to bed in their crates. Just the crates never get closed. But the crates are kept in the bathroom that's adjoining the master bedroom. So that's the only reason the dogs even go into my bedroom, is on their way to the bathroom where the crates are at. Other than that, the dogs are not allowed in the bedrooms, in the kids' bedrooms, and they're not allowed in my collection room. So typically, and they're usually pretty good about maintaining their boundaries when they're supervised. They know not to cross the lines. So when we're home, they stay within the boundaries. Now, it has happened that the dogs have not been put to bed. This happened once, and during the day they were home alone all day, and sure enough, they went into the kids' bedrooms, they chewed up a bunch of toys. They went into my room and they chewed up some of my Ghostbuster stuff. So that happened once. So when they're not supervised, and if they're left out at night on the weekends when we're all camping out in the living room, they'll do that as well. They'll go into the kids' bedrooms and pick out like a stuffed animal or something. So when we camp out in the living room on the weekends, we let the dogs out there with us, because that's really the only chance that they get to kind of sleep on us or with us, is because they are allowed on the couch. So what we do is we close the bedrooms, my collection room and the kids' bedrooms. The doors get closed so that if the dogs decide that they want to cross a boundary when we're asleep, they can't. So that all being said, this past Saturday, I wasn't feeling well, so I went to bed, which is unusual for me. And the wife and kids stayed out in the living room watching movies and staying up late and camping out. At about 1 o'clock in the morning, my wife just storms into the bedroom, throws all the lights on, wakes me up. Get up, get up, get up. I heard a noise. And she was freaking out. The kids are freaking out. They heard noises up on the roof. And she said, there's something in my youngest daughter's bedroom. There's something in there. I heard noises in there. Something's in there. Please get up and go check it out. So of course I leapt out of bed and I ran into my kids' room. Nothing. You know, I opened all the doors. I turned on all the lights. Nothing. There's no sounds. There's nothing in there. All the windows are locked. Everything is secure. Nothing's going on. So I just kind of write it off to like, hey, maybe a branch fell, because we have a lot of trees in our area. We have some undeveloped lots. So I figured, hey, maybe a branch fell or hit the roof or something, and that's probably what you heard. Relax. I went around the outside the house. I checked everything out. Everything was fine. So hey, just, you know, everybody go back to sleep. Everything is okay. I checked. I have a habit, and my wife says it's PTSD, whatever. I disagree, but whatever. I'll share this with you anyway. I cannot go to bed. I cannot go to sleep if I don't check every door, every lock, and every window in the house. I can't do it. I have to check everything before I go to bed. So, you know, as I always do, once I was up, I checked everything again, and I went back to bed. Everything is fine. Sunday, I'm sitting in my collection room. I was editing some videos, and then I heard a noise up on the roof or up in the attic. So this got me wondering. I heard a noise, and I really kind of didn't think anything of it. I'm like, okay, I think I heard what she heard. I see what she was talking about, but I didn't really think much of it after that. And then on Monday at work, I'm thinking about this. Yesterday, I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, I'm wondering if there's something up in the attic. An animal could have crawled up there or something. So last night, I go up in the, I get home, and I'm talking to my wife, and I'm like, you know, I heard something yesterday, and I'm thinking maybe there's an animal up there is possible, let's go check it out. So let's go check it out means I get to go check it out. So I climb up in the attic, and I used to work years ago. I used to work doing cabling, doing fire alarm and burglar alarm installations for government contracts. So I have crawled in a lot of attics in my time. That being said, the attic in my house is probably one of the worst, most uncomfortable and inconvenient attics that I have ever been in, because I have vaulted ceilings that follow the ridge of the roof. So really the only space that you can go up there and kind of move around in is the space above the garage. If you're trying to move into the common areas of the house, that's a vaulted ceiling. So you literally have to climb. There's only about 3 feet of room between the ceiling and the roof. And so you're on all fours the whole time at an incline or a decline. It's extremely just uncomfortable and difficult to do. Now, the bedrooms have a normal ceiling, so there's drop-offs for the bedrooms. There's about a 3 or 4 foot drop from the incline into the bedrooms that are also very difficult to get into. So I climbed up there, and I'm looking around, and all the insulation looked virgin. It looked undisturbed. It looked just the way it did the day that it was laid. So I'm happy with that. I'm like, okay, it doesn't look like anything's been up here. So that's good news. I get over to the far end of the house where my kids' bedrooms are at. And I'm looking around, and I have a headlamp on, and then I've also got my phone, and I'm shining the light around. And just as I'm getting ready to finish, I do one last sweep over the kids' bedrooms, and I look over at my youngest daughter's room, which is where the noises were coming from, and there it is. I see a small reflection, and I freeze, and I just see this one dot, and I freeze. And now, right before I saw this, I inhaled some insulation, and I had a coughing fit. So I was sitting up there coughing for about 5 minutes. It's hence why I was getting ready to just be done with it. So I'm sitting up there coughing my lungs out, do one last sweep, and there it is, just one dot reflecting, and it's still quite a bit of it's a good 10 feet away from me, maybe. So I just sat still, just looking, just waiting, and sure enough, the reflection moves, and suddenly there's 2 dots reflecting, and the light hit it, and I can see 2 eyes and a black mask, and it wasn't Batman. So sure enough, I'll try and edit the picture into this. There is a flipping raccoon up in my attic. And let me tell you something. You've never seen a heavy-set man such as myself climb out of an attic as quickly as I did. It was insane. I didn't stick around to see if he had family, he or she. I didn't stick around to see if there was young up there. Nothing. I got the hell out of that attic, shut it up, done. Get back in the house. I'm breathing super heavy, and I'm out of breath. My wife's like, "What's going on? What's going on? What's going on?" And I'm like, "Yep, there's a raccoon up there." So of course my wife's freaking out now, and I'm like, "Look, it was pretty calm. The raccoon didn't come after me. So, I mean, that's not to say that the raccoons typically carry rabies. So there's a good chance it's a carrier, but at least it's not infected with it because it didn't chase after me. I sat there for a few minutes watching it. I didn't freak out. I just, there it is. I see it, calm. Let's back away slowly. And then once I got into a place where I could move around, then I got the hell out. But he just sat there, calm, just kind of looked at me, and then he just kind of kept looking around, he or she. It didn't chase me, it didn't hiss at me, it didn't growl at me, it didn't act aggressively towards me. So that being said, there's a good chance that it's not infected with rabies or by rabies. Could it be a carrier? Likely. But at least, it's not foaming at the mouth or nothing like that. So, and it's unlikely that it's got a litter. Because it's still a little early. I mean, that's not to rule out completely, but it is a little early for animals to be having litters right now. And also, again, it didn't chase after me when I was up in its space. So I got downstairs, I called animal control, animal services, left a message, and that brings us to this morning, to today. So I everybody got up, school and work, all that good stuff, and I just got a call at work from animal services. They're coming out to my house to meet me, so I had to leave work, and I'm on my way home to to meet with animal control, set up some traps, do whatever it is we're gonna do. So we'll figure that out. That's where I'm headed right now. So I got a long drive. So there's my story. Kind of funny, kind of not. So there's that. But that story leads me to this next part. So I have a pretty long commute. I'm sure I've mentioned this several times here. I have a pretty good commute from the rocket factory to the house. So I listen to a lot of podcasts. I've been listening to podcasts for years and years and years. I'm a big fan of podcasting. I've done, in my field of work, I used to do I do electronic engineering. And I've done a lot of bench work, which typically tends to be, you're in one place, you're on one bench, soldering equipment or wiring or doing whatever it is you're doing. And I've done some circuit design and stuff like that. And that kind of work, typically, you're by yourself. It can be a little droning. So years and years and years ago, I got an iPod, which actually, funny enough, I won it in a contest that I didn't even know I had been entered into when I was in school. When I was going to ITT Tech, I got entered into this contest that I didn't know about, and I actually won, and my prize was an iPod, and that was my first iPod. So I got into listening to podcasts because it's a good way to listen. A lot of times when you work in laboratories like the ones that I work in, they're quiet environments. There may be some talking depending on what you're doing, but for the most part, a lot of the work that I do is solo work. I'm at a station working by myself, so I don't really need to talk to a lot of people. This is now in previous works. Where I'm at now, there is a team, and so I don't get to listen to podcasts as much as I used to, because I am working in a team environment now, doing something a little different. But in previous jobs, I've been sitting in a laboratory, quiet environment by myself, so I got to listen to a lot of podcasts to just kind of keep you company and whatnot. I just like the conversation. One of my absolute favorite podcasts, I have been listening to this show for 7 or 8 years, something like that. It's one of the oldest podcasts on iTunes. And yes, I still listen to iTunes. I still have my old even though I have a smartphone, I like to listen to podcasts on my iPod and through iTunes. So I go home every day, I plug in my iPod, I download my podcasts. It's just old-fashioned, I guess, but that's just the way I'm used to doing it. So there's a specific show. It's a comedy show. It's one of the longest-running ones on iTunes. It's called The Mediocre Show. This is one of the absolute best podcasts on iTunes. One of the longest-running ones. It's one of my favorite shows. So I got treated to a very awesome surprise. On my way home, I'm listening to The Mediocre Show like I do every week. And one of the co-hosts, Frank, he's a big toy aficionado, has started watching my channel on YouTube and just gave this like super awesome long promo about my channel and what I do. And now we've got lens flare. We got the sun coming in and we got some lens flare. There we go. I guess I'll drive like this for a few minutes. So yeah, so Frank from The Mediocre Show just went on this long, just awesome promo about how he's been binge watching all my videos, him and his son, and they just love what I do. They love the channel. They've been watching it. They watch it for hours at a time, and he just gave me the absolute most awesome promo. And I cannot say thank you enough to Frank, to Eric, to Frank, and to your son Ben. Thank you for watching the channel, and thank you for talking about it on the show. and also Frank and Eric of the Mediocre Show. Thank you for what you do. Thank you for the awesome show you guys. I just felt like I needed to come and pay it back. That's still there. I felt like I needed to pay it back because now these guys, I've talked with them all the time. I call into the show all the time, and I talk with them, and I try to make jokes or whatever. So, guys, thank you for the awesome show that you guys put out every week. You've been entertaining me and many, many more people for years on end. Myself, I've been listening. You've been entertaining me for 7 or 8 years now. You've been keeping me company at work when I'm by myself and my long drives to home and to work. So thank you for the awesome show that you guys do. And thank you for the promo. That was so cool. Thank you guys for mentioning the channel on the show. That was really, really awesome. It was unexpected. I didn't know it was coming. So I'm on my way home, and suddenly there it is. They're talking about me on the podcastings. So that was just so cool. Thank you guys so much. And for everybody watching me here, if you're not aware of it, go check out The Mediocre Show. You can find them on iTunes, or go to themediocreshow.com. Check those guys out. They put an excellent show. They're hilarious. It's one of the best podcasts there is. So I guess that's it. So there it is. I'm angry with Toys R Us. I got a funny story because I got raccoons in my attic. And I got a very warm and heartfelt thank you to The Mediocre Show for what you guys do, for your awesome show, and for mentioning me on your show. So with that, I think we're pretty much done. This one ran long, so there it is. As always, if you guys have anything you guys want me to do, review, anything like that, make sure you let me know by leaving me a comment. Give me some thumbs up, subscribe and share with your friends if you like what you see, and I'll talk to you next time.